Hello, retailing students. This is Steve Kramer, UNCG Business Librarian, with part 2 of our two-part introduction to the research you're doing this semester for Dr. Huang. And today we're focusing on the market and industry side of your SWOT analysis, and more generally, the industry and market research you need to do, in contrast to the company research we focused on last time. So that's going to be our focus today. Although I do want to do an epilogue regarding finding research about companies, something I forgot to mention last time. So I'll add that in as well. Let me start screen sharing. And once again, we're going to work off of this research guide, but I'm going to highlight the core things as usual. Before I forget, I want to point out that I have a citation guide here. And for example, I'm going to show you how to use Mintel today, how to work it into your assignment. If you need to know how to cite Mintel, open up this page, this guide, click on Mintel, and there is a sample citation, short and sweet in this case. So you can copy and paste and then change the details, the author, the date, the name of the report, and that will basically do it. So use this as a guide how to cite some of these databases we're using today, including ones we used last time, Privco and Mergent, for example. So that is something available to you from this research guide. Also, there's other videos here if you want to focus on how to use Mergent for 5 minutes or 3 minutes, or Mintel, or your monitor, all of which are covered in this two-part video series. That's here too. For now though, let's just review what we're doing. So last time we looked at 4 companies, 3 public, 2 of which Korean-based, as well as 1 US private company, and how to do research on them. And I added at the end of that video a short discussion of BizSource Complete to find articles. And I want to do one more thing with this. I should have done last time. I apologize for that. So for example, I talked about searching for Peloton or LG Electronics, same thing for Amore Pacific and Instacart. One other way, though, to get some very detailed data is to add additional phrase or keywords, such as supply chain, one of your topics in your assignment. And in LG, given that they're making big equipment with computer chips inside them, plus other technologies, there's a lot out there on this topic, and you can see different examples here of issues with supply chains. And as I mentioned last time, you might want to change the date, maybe just the last 2 or 3 years worth, among other choices for modifying the search. But that's one way to get very detailed data, articles, I should say articles. It's not data, it's analysis on some of these topics. One other example for any of the companies you're dealing with this semester, strategy star. The star after the G will give us the different endings that are possible. Strategy singular, strategies plural, strategic is an adjective. And then we get articles that mention some aspect of strategy or strategies regarding LG. And that might give you another way to get a little more focused regarding exactly what is being discussed with your companies. So I'm going to throw that out there. And I know you also will be looking at websites for these companies and Google searching too, and you should do those things as well. So don't forget about that. I'm just focusing on databases more today. All right, so back to this guide, and this time page 2. And we discussed last time how strengths and opportunities are primarily, usually almost all internal aspects. So company specific, all about the company. But then you also have the external factors covered under weaknesses and under threats. And that's our focus today, looking at 3 different things. Actually, we already looked at one of them, one category of articles from BizSource Complete. But I'm focusing today on industry reports from IBIS, IBIS, and Mintel and Euromonitor. And like databases we looked at last time, Mergent, Nexus Uni, Privco, these are commercial products. They are made for the industry to use. The main customers are companies and consultants who do research in these areas, but also available to you for free as students because the library pays for it. Again, thanks in part to your tuition. So thank you for that. And just to give you a quick context for why these reports are valuable, why you should use them, because they have data you don't get to for free online. And they cost a lot of money, indication of value. And just quick examples here. If you had a credit card that you could use for research, you didn't have a library connection like you do at UNCG, you could go to marketresearch.com and buy reports with a credit card. And for example, one of the reports you might use in this class, if you're working with Amore Pacific, is beauty devices, United States, from the Mintel company. We have this report for free through your library access, but notice it costs you $5,000 if you wanted to buy this on your own. So you'll be using today, or whenever you do this research, you might be using reports for free that cost thousands of dollars each. They're valuable. That's unique content. It takes a lot of money to do this research and publish it. and you have free access. So use these tools. They're really valuable in both supporting your research and also just how much they cost. Two more quick examples. This is IBIS World example. It's industry reports. I'm going to start off with this in a minute. And online grocery sales, $1,020. And then the other database we're going to cover today, Euromonitor, global market research, global market consumer analysis of retailing in the USA, very detailed report, big picture of retailing, $2,000. So that's just how valuable these can be, and you have free access again as students. So I recommend you use them as you pursue your research at UNCG. All right. So again, I have links to these products in this box here. On the first page, there's detailed other options, other databases you can pursue as well, by markets, industries, and companies, etc. if you want to pursue that deeper. But let's just go into the big three. So I'm going to save a few steps here to make this video not too long, but just note that there's links to IBIS, Mergent, and IBIS, Mintel, and Euromonitor right here. I've already got them open. Here's IBIS. For example, Peloton team. I'm going to type in gym, exercise, and you already can see a manufacturing report. So making equipment, for example. I'm going to search. IBIS is pretty easy to use. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I want to talk more actually about how to use it, what to do with this stuff, and just how to navigate it. Open the report up. And first off, I'm going to note that you can download reports. I'll show you some quick examples for all 4 teams in a second, just briefly. Download using the button there. Table of contents over here on the right side. And just for example, under industry performance, we can look and discuss what it takes to be successful and what also impacts the company. We're talking about external factors, right? So here are key external drivers. If you are in this industry, you're Peloton, you're what other companies are making these things? And we'll see that in a second. I think, we'll see. Then you need to be aware of some of these issues, including the impact of demand and imports and sport participation and income levels and other things. So that's key external drivers. Another aspect, competition, external factors. This is a big one. What does it take to be successful? Well, according to IBIS, to be successful, you need to do these 4 things. Brand name needs to be big. Think about how much money Peloton spends on advertising. Big reason why it doesn't make money yet. It just advertises so much. Inventory aspects, technology, maybe that's a duh thing, but yeah, definitely that's important. And having a diverse customer base, diverse range of clients, among other things here too. Just briefly, forecasting's in your assignment. There is forecasting data here, both with narrative descriptions and also year-on-year change. And notice this is actually pretty good. This is percentage every year going up between like 0.5 and 2.5 maybe percent per year. So that's a pretty good growth. And there's analysis of why, some more detailed analysis, and then an infographic of its life cycle. And you can see it's in the maturity growth because the industry's been around for a while. But then of course you add on Peloton's online content, and then maybe you in effect bump up that one company to quantity growth or quality growth. Among other topics here, who are the other major players? Brunswick, that's what I was trying to think of before. And there's a few others mentioned as well. So IBIS is really good for that kind of industry competition analysis. And let me open up a few quick other examples and then change my screen share. And I'm going to wrap up IBIS by just pointing out other topics here that you should look at or consider, depending on what team you're in. For example, they cover dishwasher manufacturing and other appliance manufacturing. So LG, there you are. This is US centered still. Cosmetic and beauty products, for example. Online grocery sales, there you go. How's the industry going? Actually got that twice. No, I'm sorry, different. Online perfume and cosmetics sales. If I'm more specific, it's doing e-commerce as well as retailing, bricks and mortar retailing. Then here's a report for that. And I already mentioned gym and exercise equipment. So that's one example of IBIS. That's one way to get industry analysis. But what about people, markets, consumers, consumer demand? Let me go back to the web browser. I'm going to close IBIS and switch over to Mintel. Mintel, again, consumer reports. I'm going to type in, I already did that, you can see color cosmetics. You get suggestions of hits. One of them is going to be, it was here a second ago, my session may have timed out. I may have to restart this search. Yeah, sorry. I need to go back. I opened this up about 10 minutes ago and eventually it times out. So I just need to open it again. And then we'll get right in. And this time, when I do my search, you will see some suggestions over there on the center right, like you can, like you cannot see right there. Don't know what's going on. Color cosmetics, though, I'm just going to search for this, see if I can pull it up. Is one of the reports. I have a PDF already downloaded. I can jump to that if needed. There it is. And notice it's fairly current. Most of these get updated once a year. Download the whole report as PDF. I've done that already. I'll show that to you in a second, but also the statistics as a big spreadsheet with different sheets in it, a PDF version or a PowerPoint version to facilitate you cut and pasting and then citing, of course, a chart or graph or something as well. But the 5 main chapters are these: overview, market, consumer, brand, company, and data. Market is just a big picture, market size, market forecasting. Look at just one example from this section. So apparently, perhaps because of COVID, we're not going out as much, right? That may change soon, hopefully, but right now that's not the case. Apparently, the forecast doesn't look that great. We'll see if that changes. Yeah, they've got a downward forecasting here. So that's one example. The market section, the one I really enjoy looking at because it has behavior analysis and kind of survey data, interviews with people, is a consumer chapter like this one. So what motivates you to buy cosmetic clothing? How does skin color impact it? There's an interesting diversity analysis here in terms of different ethnic groups and how there's some differences in consumption and preferences and hopes regarding cosmetics, and that's in like behaviors, for example, or attitudes, etc. So good stuff there as well. I'll show you one more example of that in a minute. And also just brand data. So what are the retailers that are big? What are the brands that are big too? So Mintel is really good. Just a few other examples. I'm going to switch sharing again. And open up some Mintel reports I already downloaded. This again will be your very quick, making sure I got this right. What else is in here for me kind of introduction. So they have a big report on just grocery retailing, including e-commerce grocery retailing with some COVID updates that they did last spring. They'll probably update this next month. Changing retail landscape, good for any team that has a retailing aspect. All 4 teams do, I think. So how things have been changing with retailing. And you can see detailed table of contents here, focus on the market and consumers and key players as well. Okay, LG, major household appliances. Bam, really detailed analysis of all the different product lines, market decisions, consumer behavior decisions, top companies involved, attitudes, behavior, etc. They also cover like kitchen appliances, a separate report, but I thought this was the best one to just highlight real quick. Exercise trends. So here it's not about the industry, it's about people and what they're doing with exercise and their behavior. And it might mention Peloton in here. We can keyword search and look for Peloton. I think it's mentioned a few times. But remember, big picture, it's not about the company. It's about the market, the industry, external factors. So think about how do these things help you better analyze Peloton, for example. Just another example, just to kind of walk through that real quick. What motivates people to exercise? There's some data broken down by different answers in different aspects and where you do it. So kind of locations. There's other data that you break it down by gender, age, income brackets, and so on. Here's both gender and age, for example. How does Peloton fit into this? Is it connecting with all these groups, or is it doing marketing based upon emotional health or public health or weight or all 3? Is it connected to some of these trends? That's your critical thinking you need to do to make sure that Peloton is or is not responding to this feedback, to this research findings from consumer surveys and interviews. So that's your goal. It's not going to tell you that Peloton is doing this or not. You have to think about that because this is the big picture and you have to apply it. And that's true of all 4 companies, of course. Wrapping up Mintel, marketing to millennials. If you are targeting this age group or other age groups, there's other reports like this for other age groups. This is all about how to market this generation, and not about one industry or a market. It's about just how to reach these people. So is your company doing the things it takes to successfully connect with emotionally, technologically, ethically, etc., with this age group, if this age group is one you're targeting? And of course, a lot of millennials are now parents and they have careers. These people are getting older, older than most of you probably if you're traditionally aged college students. So again, think about how this ties into your company, even though your company is not going to be mentioned. It's about the market, not about your company. So critical thinking, again, how this plays out. Quickly, diversity and inclusivity in beauty, big trend, and this certainly is important to a more specific and gets into ethical issues as well, diversity issues. And this is the one I already showed you live using the web browser. So it's just, there's good information there as well. All right, so that is Mintel. Last one, and then we're done. And I need to start going back to web browser. And it is this one, Year Monitor. This is our most expensive, by the way, library database for business. It costs us, I won't tell you how much, but every year I have to fight for it. Why do we still pay so much money for this thing? We do because it's essential, particularly for global retailing, global market research. It does cover the United States. I'll show you US examples. Here's one, consumer behavior in the United States. But it is really the only well-known global company for international detailed market analysis and retailing. It's based in London. Chicago's their local office, but they have experts in all the different major cities and countries of the world. So they do global analysis. A little harder to search, frankly. I have a separate video on how to search passport. I pointed out where my videos are, my research guide. Again, the database might have stalled because I opened it up 20 minutes ago now and it's been sitting abandoned for a while. So I may need to refresh my search. Actually, it's still there. But briefly, industries, most over the top. Notice what they're covering. I think there's something here for all of you, but also there is more general analysis of e-commerce in each country, household trends, retailing trends. So you have both that kind of more general analysis plus industry-specific analysis. And just to wrap this up, I've already downloaded some reports. Let me show you those to make it easier. I might have to do this twice, sorry, as I switch applications here. Okay, and so for example, actually I want to start off with a different one. Yeah, they do this for the United States, but this is an example. Actually, here's the US example for different countries. And just notice you've got the summary on top with COVID analysis. So these are updated annually. This one was updated when? Like, wasn't it last month? Yeah, last January, well, almost last month, 5 weeks ago. So pretty current stuff. You do get some opening commentary analysis, trends, and paragraphs. But then one core thing about this database is its detailed statistics, including like market size. Here's the mixture of appliances Americans have in their homes by percentages over the time. But there's also, page 15, brand level data. And you can see LG is the third biggest brand for major appliances after Haler and Whirlpool. And you can see changes over time. A slight growth trend perhaps, but maybe kind of flat too for LG compared to other products that are out there. And that goes on for a while. One other example at the bottom, past a lot more statistical data, you do get some global commentary. Macroeconomic environment, so that is here as well. So that's your monitor real quick. Some other examples, I mentioned South Korea as just another example of their international coverage. Like Mintel, they cover more general aspects of marketing, such as this report on digital consumers. So simply, what's the state of digital commerce and digital consumption in the United States? This report is kind of short, 16 pages, but all about that. So there's some data in it, but this you can see is more analysis than just market data and like brand shares. So they have a full suite of content about e-commerce. Health and wellness, they cover in all major countries. So this I put up here for Peloton, for example, e-commerce in general, I mentioned already. Chinese coverage, any country, of course, as I mentioned. This is the big report that costs $2,000 you saw if you had to buy it on your own, retailing in the United States. I know that's very general, but you may also want to have some very general analysis of COVID impact on retailing, how the retail landscape is changing, how we're using e-commerce and PayPal and other kinds of more modern types of consumption and expenditures, seasonal differences, and then tons of data, as you can see. Almost done. Beauty and personal care, they cover this. This is one of their big sectors. So all countries, so all more Pacific, here you go. A lot of beauty, cosmetics, personal care, also like bath and cleaning soap products are covered. Another example, just a very detailed report. All in this different format, you can see more of a kind of a PowerPoint format, although I have it as PDF, of course. You can see different examples, including other data, including page 26. The nature of shopping and what kinds you buy and how frequently you do that. Shopping by age, by category, how you compare channels. Here we go. I mean, this is core marketing research, you know. Smartphone versus computer versus old-fashioned in-store, looking around. Age data, etc. It just goes on and on, technology. So not analysis here in terms of like paragraphs and writing, but just wonderful detail. Ethical aspects, if you care about this, if this matters to you or your company, how do American consumers respond to questions about lifestyle aspects or ethical aspects? There you go, analysis of that too, including by age groups as well as by different types of ethical behavior and green behavior. Maybe that's enough. So that is your monitor. So just remember that SWOT analysis, strengths and weaknesses, internal, company-centered, opportunities and threats, external, industry, competition, supply chain, that's industry, but also markets, consumers, shopping and retailing, that's distribution of consumer behavior, right? So that's also marketing. And Mintel and your monitor do the marketing really well. IBIS for industry. So actually it has one chapter also on market research. And then articles we looked at like supply chain data on LG, that's industry research, but tied to LG. So hopefully this helps you, give you a sense of different ways of doing research using some of these high-end industry databases the library also has. You know, these are professional industry tools. If you have any questions, please let me know. As I mentioned in the first video, and I'll go out with this right now, on each of my research guides, including the one for this class, right side, email link, chat box, scheduling tool, other things you can do to reach out to me. Let me know what I can do to support you. Good luck this semester, hang in there, and take care.